dignitaries, fellow scientists, faculty members, young researchers, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to all. It is a matter of great pleasure that Department of Chemical Engineering MGMCET Kamothe Navi Mumbai is organizing 5 days online faculty development program on development and impact of recent technologies and innovations in chemical engineering. As a convener of the event, I welcome Dr. KG Narayan Khedkar sir, Director General Mahatma Gandhi Missions Group of Engineering Colleges, Dr. Geeta Latkar Madam, Director Mahatma Gandhi Missions College of Engineering, Navi Mumbai, the co-conveners and entire organizing team for giving their consent to organize this event. My heartiest greetings and thanks, as that will be the right toast to their entire efforts, accomplishments and success for bringing the event to fruition. Nowadays, the process of growth, development and innovation is perpetual and is witnessing the miraculous effects of technologies with applications. It is beyond doubt that chemical engineering has played and is still playing a dominant role in the culmination and development of these technologies, which have largely affected our day-to-day life. In the arena of advanced technology and development, branch of chemical engineering hold great promise, and it is imperative to consider what the practical applications of technological developments will be. I believe that the field holds great promise while also posing important questions as to how we can make wise use of these advances for the welfare of human beings and environment. The FDP by AISSMS College of Engineering on promoting quality culture in technical institutes, FDP by Gharda Institute of Technology on chemical engineering towards sustainability and process intensification also inspired us to organize this FDP with the aim of bridging the gap between industry and academia. Objectives of this FDP are to create awareness of recent technologies adopted by the chemical industry, to cognize the recent innovations in chemical engineering, to know the impact of emerging technologies and innovations in chemical engineering on society and environment, and to cover some of the major areas of chemical like biofuels, energy system design, modeling and simulation, process intensification, advanced process control, and drying technologies. The series of sessions being organized with all these objectives in mind, where the researchers and academicians will interact on a common platform and derive useful inputs for maintaining perpetually. We are fortunate enough to have distinguished speakers from IIT Mumbai, ICT Mumbai, NIT Rourkela, Qatar University, Reliance Industries Limited, United Phosphorus Limited, Novazymes South Asia Private Limited, Swiss Water Technologies and Solutions India Private Limited. I believe that this FDP is going to be the most comprehensive booster focused on the various aspects of advances and their applications. The deliberations will explore various aspects of advances in the related topics. I am sure this FDP will also provide a platform to the experts, industry professionals, faculty members, and research scholars to share their experiences. It would also inspire the young researchers to continue to work with dedication to further improve their skills and update their knowledge. So thanks once again to our management, Director General Sir, Director Madam, co-conveners and organizing committee members for supporting to organize this FDP, and warm welcome to all participants. Now I would like to request our Director Madam Dr. Geeta Latkar to address the participants of this particular FDP. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Welcome,
Kohli
Madam.
sir. Yeah, thank you. I welcome the participants of this FDP on behalf of our institute. First, I think the chemical engineering is one such field which touches almost all aspects of human life. Let it be agriculture or cosmetics, let it be manufacturing or textiles, let it be energy management or fuel, let it be pharmaceuticals or any, you name any field, and chemical engineering has got an application or role to play basically. And there are challenges, and there are wide scope for like applying our mind and finding the new applications. For example, the composite materials in manufacturing, suppose, so we make the things lighter and more powerful, more efficient for the vehicles. Uh, okay, chemical engineering has got a role to play there. And the like applications are ever expanding. Like for day to day cosmetics also chemical engineering would come into picture. Pharmaceutical industry, chemical engineering will come into picture. Fossil fuels, chemical engineering is there. And energy management is a vital aspect of human living today, where chemical engineering is playing an important role. The pollution like generated because of the chemical industry, because of the pharmaceutical industry, or like even the mechanical industry, textile industry, it is very challenging to control the process in the interest of creating minimum possible or zero pollution. That is the challenge in front of
Yes,
chemical
yes,
engineering.
yes,
And like this is very interesting field. It is a field touching, as I told, that it is touching all aspects of human life. And I congratulate the Department of Chemical Engineering for having organized this faculty development program. I actually share a very interesting story of Alice in Wonderland.
okay.
Okay, so what happens is, many of you must have read
Yeah,
that book.
yes,
There is a dialogue of Alice and the Queen of the Wonderland. So Alice is sharing it with the Queen that, you see, you have to run a lot to cover a very short distance in your kingdom. So the Queen smiles and she says that, oh, not only this, but you have to run and keep running to be at the same place as well in our kingdom. So this is kingdom of that wonderland. Today the world has become the same. To be at the same place also, you have to keep running. You have to keep yourself, on your toes, to be in pace with the world, to be at the place where you are. Also, you have to, take so many efforts, keep yourself updated. The faculty development programs are very helpful to update the faculty and, make them stay where they are, okay, with enough updating about the surroundings, about the developments taking place,
yes,
about the challenges ahead, and you know, um achieve the progress.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
finally.
yeah.
So, congratulations once again. Welcome once again, all the participants. And I think I hand it over to our Director General, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Thank.
please unmute yourself.
Yeah. Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you very much, madam, uh, for addressing and guiding the faculty members or the professionals in this particular field. Now I would like to request our Director General, sir, Dr. KG Narayan Khedkar, to address the participants. Sir, unmute करा है.
Sir, you please
Good
unmute.
afternoon. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Honorable Chairman, Mahatma Gandhi Mission, Shri Kamal Kishore Kadamji, Director, Dr. Geeta Latkar, resource persons, participants, heads of the department, and faculty members, particularly Chemical Engineering Department, deans, faculty, staff, students, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon to you all. Greetings. On behalf of Mahatma Gandhi Mission, College of Engineering and Technology, Kamote, Navi Mumbai, and my own behalf, I greet you all with a warm welcome for this 5 days faculty development program on development and impact of recent technologies and innovations in chemical engineering. It's a great pleasure to me to be associated with this activity online. This is in fact a very interesting program, and as Madam has already said about the applications of chemical engineering, which are right from day to day to high-tech areas, this particular theme which has been chosen is very relevant to the present practice. I appreciate the efforts made by the HOD and the faculty of Chemical Engineering Department in organizing this particular faculty development program with the help of renowned people. If you see the speakers, they're all renowned in their own fields from industry as well as academic areas. I wholeheartedly appreciate the contributions being made by these renowned experts and resource persons and welcome them on this occasion. In fact, these speeches and talks by experts will go in long way in building up expertise in the participants, and I'm sure this course will definitely enrich the participants who are attending this program. The theme areas being addressed are extremely relevant in the present context. I'm sure you are definitely going to be benefited by this particular program which has been arranged by the Chemical Engineering Department. As we are now following outcome-based education, the 12th program outcome addresses lifelong learning. These activities not only allow the participants to update their knowledge, it also will help them to have the habit of lifelong learning. So this is a very important habit we have to cultivate among ourselves to be abreast with the latest technological developments which are happening all over the world. Moreover, it is also mandatory to evaluate every activity we do in terms of outcomes. I'm sure the conveners of this faculty development program will certainly address this important aspect for this particular faculty development program, coming up with the outcomes attained by this program.
Yes.
The present faculty development program is in continuation of the MGM College of Engineering Technologies culture and legacy of providing opportunities to both students and faculty and staff. Thus, I always consider Mahatma Gandhi College of Engineering Technology and staff. There are several activities which are going on, including the clubs, regular visits of our resource persons, organizing national level conferences, etc. And these are the special features of this institute. As you are aware, today is International Yoga Day. Our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, has chosen this 21st June as it is the longest day in the Southern Hemisphere. The theme of this year's yoga is yoga at home and yoga with family. I'm in fact very happy to say that College of Engineering and Technology, Kamote, is organizing various clubs, and one of them is Yoga Club. And this is very relevant in context with today's scenario of Corona. Yoga is going to help us to keep us fit. And this is a pride moment for me to greet you all on the occasion of International Yoga Day. Similarly, one more club which is very active is the one from Chemical Engineering Department, organized and monitored and coordinated, and that is College Social Responsibility. There are several activities done by this, visits to different locations, etc. I am sure this activity also will go long way in maintaining relations with the society. And that is also one of the program outcome requirements to meet social needs. Let me now conclude by saying, Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings be happy. Take care and defeat Corona. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your continuous guidance and support and invaluable address to the audience of this FDP as well during the inaugural ceremony of the FDP. Once again, I would like to thank our Director Madam as well as Director General sir. Now, I would like to hand over the session to the actual first session of this particular FDP to Dr. Aarti Parikh Madam for the first session. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
वीडियो बंद है अच्छा अनम्यूट है हेलो
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
So shall I start, sir?
Yes, madam.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, one and all. I, Dr. Aarti Parikh, Assistant Professor in Chemical Engineering, Department of Chemical Engineering at MGMCET Navi Mumbai, would like to take the pleasure to welcome and introduce Dr. Preeti Subedar, the resource speaker of the topic biofuels for the current session. Dr. Preeti Subedar at present is Associate Industry Technology Specialist in Novozymes South Asia Private Limited. Before that, she was working as Assistant Manager at Godavari Biorefineries Limited from 2015 to 2019. She also worked as Junior Technologist in MPOT Bioventures Private Limited. She completed her PhD in Chemical Engineering from ICT Mumbai in 2016, MTech from ICT Mumbai and BTech also from UDCT Aurangabad. She has acquired Dr. A.V. Ramarao Foundation's Best PhD Thesis Award by IICHE in 2018. Dr. Preeti has 13 publications in international peer-reviewed journals with 604 citations till date and presented many number of papers in various technical conferences. Now, I would like to request Dr. Preeti to start her session presentation. Dr. Preeti.
Aarti madam, am I audible to everyone?
Yes. You can start. Please.
screen is visible to everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for inviting me for this speech on the biofuels. So we will start our talk for this session on biofuels production processes and its intensification by using ultrasound assisted approach. So we will start with the fuels first. Before starting with the biofuels, fuels are any materials that store potential energy in the form that can be practically released and used as the heat energy. Currently, we are dependent on the fossil fuels to fulfill all our needs, but these fossil fuels are not renewable. What it means? It means that they will run out at some point of time. And as our ability to pump out the fossil fuels from the ground diminishes, the available supply will decrease, and which will lead to increase in its price. And thus, the growing energy demand and depletion of world's petroleum supply have resulted in interest in alternative fuels. And thus, biofuels can be looked upon as a way of energy security, which stands as an alternative to the fossil fuels, which are limited in the availability. And hence, world is focusing on the production of biofuels. Now, what are these biofuels? The term biofuel is used here to mean any liquid fuel made from plant material that can be used as a substitute for petroleum derived fuel. These biofuels are the greener substitute to the fossil fuels. And how? Because biofuels production ensures that the natural carbon to be 100% achieved, which completely eliminates the continuous increase in carbon dioxide rates in the atmosphere, which in turn have the greatest effect on the environment, and it is one of the way to end the global warming. For example, a crop of plants used to produce a barrel of biofuel will absorb exactly the same amount of carbon dioxide as emitted from burning the barrel produced. So why we are shifting to biofuels? Because biofuels are environmental friendly alternative fuels. They are renewable and sustainable. They emit non-toxic materials, and these biofuels are completely biodegradable. Use of biofuels in transportation sector have risen to prominence in recent years. And the main reasons for promoting biofuels are to contribute to the reduction of greenhouse gases. And what are these greenhouse gases? Greenhouse gases are any gases which has the ability to absorb the radiations emitted from the earth and radiated back again to the earth, which increases the temperature in the atmosphere and which leads to the global warming. To contribute to the security of energy supply, to promote a greater use of renewable energy, and to diversify the agricultural economies into new markets. And how we can do that? Because any kind of agricultural waste can be used as a feedstock for the production of biofuels. Paving the way for the usage of alternative fuels in the aviation sector, country's first ever biojet fuel powered flight was successfully tested between Dehradun and Delhi on 27th of August 2018. And it aimed to reduce the cost of air travel by replacing the costly aviation turbine fuel. SpiceJet's biofuel was a mix of the oil extracted from the seeds of Jatropha plant, that is biofuel, which is derived from the Jatropha plant, and the aviation turbine fuel. And that was a huge step towards encouraging the sustainable and alternative fuels for the transportation and aviation sector. Now, these biofuels can be produced by using different catalysts such as chemical catalysts or the enzymes. But these chemical catalysts are not environmental friendly. And as we are talking about the biofuels productions, which are the greener substitute for the fossil fuels, we will mainly focus on the enzymatic reactions. Now, what are these enzymes? Enzymes are the biological catalysts. Enzymes are the proteins that increases the rate of reaction by lowering the energy of activation. And what is this activation energy? Activation energy is nothing but the amount of energy needed to disturb the stable molecule so that reaction can take place. These enzyme catalyzed reactions are very efficient in nature. They are 10 raised to 3 to 10 raised to 17 times faster than the corresponding uncatalyzed reactions. Also, they are very specific in nature. What it means, they interact with one or few specific substrates and catalyzes only one type of chemical reactions. Thus, here we can avoid the side product formation. Now we will see what are the steps involved in the enzymatic reactions. First step is substrate approaches the active site. Then enzyme substrate complex formation occurs. Substrate get transformed into the product get released, and then we can recycle back the enzymes for our desired reaction. Now, there are several advantages associated with these enzymatic processes, such as they are specific in reactions, efficient, biodegradable, safer, and works under mild operating conditions. But despite of all these advantages, chemicals enzymatic reactions are hindered by the slow reaction rates as well as significantly higher cost of the enzymes. And hence, it is essential to exploit the process intensification approach in order to increase the rate of reaction so that enzymatic reactions can be feasible even at commercial scale. Now, this intensification can be done by using various techniques such as microwave assisted intensification, supercritical assisted intensification. But today we are going to talk on ultrasound assisted intensification of the process. Application of ultrasound in the liquid medium causes turbulence and microcirculation, and which enhances the rate of reaction by decreasing the mass transfer barrier. Propagation of ultrasonic waves in the liquid medium causes cavitation, and when this cavitating bubble collapse, resulting shock wave can offer very effective mixing of the layers, reducing processing time as compared to other conventional mixing techniques. Now we will start with the production process of first biofuel, which we are going to talk about, that is bioethanol. Bioethanol is derived from the fermentation of simple sugars, which are produced by the hydrolysis of feedstock, such as starchy materials or the lignocellulosic biomass. These starchy materials can be anything like potato, sweet potato, or the various type of grains. And the lignocellulosic biomass can be anything like any kind of agricultural waste or the municipal waste. Now, this bioethanol is categorized into three generations. First generation bioethanol is produced from the sugar, starch, etc. And any biofuel made from the feedstock that can also be consumed as human food is considered as first generation bioethanol. And what are the feedstock for this first generation bioethanol? Sugar cane, sugar beet, sorghum, cheese whey. These are the simple sugars which can be used as a feedstock for the bioethanol production. And India mainly uses sugarcane and sorghum as their feedstocks. And starchy materials, that is corn, wheat, cassava, etc., can also be used as the feedstock for the first generation bioethanol. Then second generation bioethanol is produced from the sustainable feedstock such as lignocellulosic biomasses. And these lignocellulosic biomasses are the most potential feedstock for the production of biofuels because of their huge availability as well as low cost. And third generation bioethanol is produced from the marine algae. Now we will see what is the bioethanol consumption worldwide. There is a mandate in every country to blend some proportion of bioethanol into the gasoline fuel. That is, in India, addition of 5% ethanol to gasoline is mandatory, and efforts will be directed to increase the ethanol percentage in the mixture up to 10%. In Canada, 5% of all motor vehicle must be ethanol or biodiesel. In Japan, the replacement of 3% of gasoline by ethanol is authorized, but efforts will be done to increase this value to 10%. And in US, even 85% ethanol can be blended to the gasoline fuel. So there is a mandate in every country for the blending of this biofuel to the gasoline-based fuels. So now we are going to discuss on the lignocellulosic bioethanol production and why we are choosing the lignocellulosic biomass, because it can solve this food versus fuel controversy. Its feedstocks are not edible. It can grow on marginal lands. It will not divert the land from food production to its production. It has a wide range of feedstocks. It can replace fossil fuel in significant ways. 30% of US transportation fuel can be supplied by cellulosic ethanol, and it doesn't need any specific climate or the land, so that it can be produced in every region. So now we will see what are the components of the lignocellulosic biomass. Lignocellulosic biomass is mainly composed of cellulose, hemicellulose, and the lignin. Cellulose is a homopolymer of glucose units which are linked to each other by beta-1,4-glycosidic linkages. Hemicellulose is a heteropolymer of various monomers such as mannose, galactose, arabinose, xylose, etc. And lignin is linked to the cellulose and hemicellulose, forming an impermeable barrier for the enzymatic attack. And what is this lignin? Lignin is nothing but the polyphenolic polymer which is amorphous in nature, and its building blocks are paracarboryl alcohol, coniferyl alcohol, and the synapyl alcohol. Now, the production process of bioethanol from second generation bioethanol, that is from lignocellulosic biomass, consists of three main steps. First step is the pre-treatment of biomass for its delignification, because lignin acts as a barrier for the hydrolysis of biomass into the sugar. Second step is the hydrolysis of pre-treated biomass for the fermentable sugar production. And third step is the fermentation of produced sugar for the bioethanol production. So now we will see the case study where we had carried out the alkaline delignification of biomass, and the biomass chosen for the work was waste newspaper, as waste paper constitutes a significant share of municipal as well as industrial waste. And annually, India produces several million tons of unrecycled waste paper and the paper sludge. The composition of waste newspaper used was contained around 41% cellulose, 24.85% hemicellulose, 23% lignin, around 6% ash, and 3.89% moisture. Then alkaline pre-treatment of this biomass was carried out for its delignification, and the experimental setup used for the reaction was as shown in the figure. Fully baffled glass reactor was used for the reaction. First newspaper was added to the reactor, followed by addition of alkali solution. Then agitation was started and sampling was done after regular time intervals. Samples were then centrifuged, and the clear supernatant thus obtained was used to measure the lignin concentration. Analysis of lignin was carried out by using UV spectrophotometric method by measuring the absorbance at 330 nanometers. Now we will see the effect of alkali concentration on the delignification of newspaper. Alkali concentration was studied over the range of 0.25 normal to 2.25 normal. And as can be seen from the graph, 1.75 normal alkali concentration was found to be the optimum alkali concentration with 40% delignification. And why this degradation of lignin occurred? Because lignin degradation during alkaline treatment occurs due to the breakage of aryl ether linkages, which constitutes near about 50 to 70% of total linkages found in the lignin. And presence of hydroxyl ion catalyzes the degradation of lignin and thus liberate the soluble sodium phenolates into the solution. Then this is the graph which shows the effect of paper loading. Paper loading was varied over the range of 0.2 to 1%, and 0.8% was found to be the optimum paper loading with 40% delignification. And further increase in the paper loading resulted a slight decrease in the delignification extent, because too much concentration of solids in slurry adversely affected the reaction as slurry became too thick to mix. Then effect of temperature was studied over the range of 313 Kelvin to 373 Kelvin. And as can be seen from the graph, as the temperature was increased, the delignification extent was also increased from 16% to 44%, but 353 was chosen as the optimum reaction temperature, as further increase in the reaction temperature leads to the production of inhibitory chemicals and degradation of carbohydrates, which ultimately affects the sugar yield. Then in order to intensify the reaction, ultrasound assisted alkaline pretreatment was carried out. And the experimental setup used for the reaction was as shown in the figure. Here, 3-neck fully baffled glass reactor was used for the reaction, and ultrasonic horn was inserted through one of the neck 1 centimeter into the reaction mixture. And this horn was operated at 20 kilohertz frequency. This is the graph which shows the effect of ultrasonic power on the delignification of biomass. Ultrasonic power was studied over the range of 60 watt to 110 watt, and 100 watt was found to be the optimum ultrasonic power with 80% delignification in 70 minutes of reaction time. That is, twofold intensification in the delignification extent was observed by the application of ultrasound. The ability of ultrasonic treatment to improve the extraction efficiency is mainly due to the reduction in the mass transfer barrier, as well as improvement in the penetration of solvent into the biomass, giving us enhanced delignification extent. Now, this is the graph which shows the effect of duty cycle. Duty cycle is nothing but the on-off period for which ultrasound is operated. Ultrasound can be operated in two modes. One is continuous mode of operation of ultrasound, and second one is the pulse mode of operation of ultrasound. But usually pulse mode is preferred because continuous mode of application of ultrasound has the problems such as erosion of the ultrasonic tip, as well as it is energy inefficient. So duty cycle was varied over the range of 40 to 80%, and 70% was found to be the optimum duty cycle with 80% delignification. Then this is the graph which shows the effect of alkali concentration under ultrasonic irradiation. Here we can see that one normal alkali concentration resulted in 80% delignification in 70 minutes of reaction time. And this is the graph which shows the effect of paper loading under ultrasonic irradiation, and in this case 0.5% paper loading resulted in 80% delignification, because apart from cavitation, mechanical and thermal energy associated with the ultrasound causes reduction in the particle size of biomass and thus enhances the mass transfer rates, and hence with the use of laser paper loading, we obtained 80% delignification of the newspaper. Then characterization of untreated and pre-treated newspaper was carried out by using several different techniques. First graph you can see is the IR spectra of untreated and pre-treated newspaper. Blue spectrum is of untreated newspaper, whereas red spectrum is of pre-treated newspaper. Here we can see the presence of cellulose in the pulp, which is at 3500, and this band is assigned for the OH stretching in intermolecular hydrogen bonding. Presence of hemicellulose is confirmed by the broad bands between 800 to 1000 range, and the presence of lignin is confirmed by the band at 1600, and this band is assigned for the C double bond O stretching in aryl ketones. And it can be seen from the graph that the bands for the cellulose and hemicellulose can be seen in the graph in pre-treated newspaper, but the band for the lignin has been weakened significantly, indicating large amount of lignin has been removed from the biomass after pre-treatment. Then the second graph shows the XRD spectra of untreated, alkali-treated, and sono-assisted alkali-treated newspaper. Lignin is amorphous in the nature, and hence delignification results in more crystalline nature of the remaining carbohydrate molecules, and which can be seen here that sono-assisted alkali-treated newspaper is more crystalline than the alkali-treated and untreated newspaper. And the third graph you can see is the thermogravimetric analysis of untreated, alkali-treated, and sono-assisted alkali-treated newspaper. Lignin is thermally far more stable than the cellulose molecules, and hence you can see that in untreated newspaper, around 60% degradation of molecule occurred at 600 degrees Celsius, whereas in case of sono-assisted alkali-treated newspaper, 90% degradation of the molecules occurred at 600 degrees Celsius, indicating the presence of large amount of cellulose in the sono-assisted alkali-treated newspaper. Then the surface structure of the untreated and pre-treated newspaper were studied by the scanning electron microscopy. And in both the images, you can see the fibrous structure of the cellulose molecules. But in case of untreated newspaper, this cellulosic fibrous network is very compact. Whereas in case of pre-treated newspaper, this cellulosic fibrous network has been loosened completely, giving the enhanced areas for the enzymatic attack, and which in turn can give us the better hydrolysis of the biomass. And the recovery of lignin was carried out by using the precipitation method. Ethanol was used for the precipitation, it was dried, and the recovered lignin was used for the various characterization. The first graph you can see is the IR spectrum of recovered lignin. Here you can see the band at 1600, which indicates the recovered solid was lignin only. The second graph is the TGA profile of lignin. Here you can see that at 600 degrees Celsius, only 40% degradation of the molecules happened, which indicates its high thermal stability. And for determining the molecular weight, we done the analysis by GPC, that is gel permeation chromatography, and the molecular weight was found to be 3104 gram per mole, which comes under low molecular weight lignin. So this is the comparison of conventional and ultrasound assisted approach for the delignification of biomass. In conventional approach, using 0.8% loading, 1.75 normal alkali concentration, in 7 hours of reaction time, only 40% delignification was obtained. Whereas in case of ultrasound assisted approach, using 0.5% paper loading, 1 normal alkali concentration, and 70 minutes of reaction time, 80% delignification was occurred. So to summarize this study, newspaper pretreated with ultrasound assisted alkaline treatment showed better delignification as compared to only alkaline treatment. About twofold increase in the delignification was achieved by using ultrasound, and the remaining fibrous material is a potentially superior substrate for enzymatic hydrolysis and ethanol fermentation owing to its high cellulose content. So moving to the next step, that is effect of ultrasonic treatment on cellulose activity. And what is cellulose? Cellulose is an enzyme which catalyzes the process of hydrolysis of cellulose into glucose molecules. And why we carried out this study? Because for many years, ultrasound has been employed as a method of enzyme inactivation. But recently, some work stated that ultrasonic irradiation, especially under mild operating condition, does not inactivate all the enzymes. Rather, it can result in favorable conformational changes in the protein molecules without altering the structural integrity of the enzymes. The experimental setup used for the ultrasonic treatment was as shown in the figure. Ultrasonic horn of 20 kHz frequency was directly inserted into the enzyme solution. This is the graph which shows the effect of ultrasonic treatment time and power on the enzyme activity. As can be seen from the first graph, as the ultrasonic treatment time increased, the activity of cellulase enzyme was also increased till 30 minutes, and further increase in the treatment time resulted in a decrease in enzyme activity. This happened because when ultrasonic treatment was carried out for the optimum period, most of the enzyme molecules in solution undergoes conformational changes which can enhance its activity. But further increase in the treatment period might cause some detrimental changes in the protein molecules. That is, it can cause damage to the polypeptide chain or the amino acid residues, which can contribute to either catalytic domain or the substrate binding domain, and hence giving us the decrease in the activity. Second graph is of ultrasonic power, where increase in the ultrasonic power till 60 watt of ultrasonic power resulted in the increase in activity, and further increase in the ultrasonic power resulted in decrease in the activity, because at high ultrasonic power, more turbulence and microcirculation occurs in the liquid medium, which can cause some changes, that is some detrimental changes to the polypeptide chains of the protein molecules, and thus it can decrease the enzyme activity. Then secondary structure of this untreated and ultrasound treated enzyme was studied by fluorescence and circular dichroism method. The intrinsic fluorescence of enzyme molecules is due to their amino acid residues and mainly attributed to the tryptophan and tyrosine residues. Here we can see that ultrasound treated enzyme showed lesser fluorescence intensity than without ultrasound enzyme, and which indicates that ultrasonic treatment causes some molecular unfolding of the protein molecules, and which can enhance its activity, and thus we obtain the lesser fluorescence intensity. The second graph is of the circular dichroism, where we can check the alpha helix, beta sheet, beta term, random coil percentage, and you can see that in the table that ultrasound treated enzyme has different percentage of alpha helix, beta sheet, beta term, random coil, which indicates the flexibility of enzyme has been increased by the ultrasonic treatment, and which resulted in increase in the enzyme activity. Then we will move to our next step of the bioethanol production, that is hydrolysis of biomass for the fermentable sugar production. The parameters studied were substrate loading, enzyme loading, ultrasonic power, duty cycle, and the temperature. And simple 3-parameter kinetic model was used to describe the results obtained in the present study. The model was developed by Shen and Eblover, and it takes into account the Langmuir adsorption model as well as enzyme deactivation hypothesis. In this model, it is assumed that enzyme binds to the substrate and forms two kinds of complexes. One is effective complex and another one is ineffective complex. Effective complex gives rise to the product, whereas ineffective complex deactivates the enzyme. So applying mass balance and quasi-state state theory, a mathematical equation can be deducted as equation 4. And after integrating equation 4, we can get the expression 5, which is the desired expression to validate the results. This is the graph which shows the effect of substrate and enzyme loading on the hydrolysis of biomass. Here we can see that substrate loading was studied over the range of 0.4% to 7%, and 5% substrate loading with 0.14% enzyme loading resulted in around 12 gram per liter reducing sugar concentrate in 72 hours of reaction time. This is the graph which shows the effect of temperature. Effect of temperature was studied over the range of 30 to 60 degrees Celsius, and 50 degrees Celsius was found to be the optimum temperature for the reaction, and further increase in reaction temperature resulted in lesser yield of reducing sugars because heat-induced denaturation of protein molecules can occur at high temperature, which can give us the reduced reducing sugar yield. And this is the graph which shows the effect of ultrasonic power and duty cycle. Ultrasonic power was studied over the range of 30 watt to 70 watt, and 60 watt of ultrasonic power with 70% duty cycle was found to be the optimum parameters, giving us around 27 gram per liter reducing sugar yield in 7 hours of reaction time. This is the graph which shows the effect of substrate and enzyme loading under ultrasonic irradiation. Under ultrasonic irradiation, 3% substrate loading with 0.08% enzyme loading were found to be the optimum parameters to get the maximum yield of reducing sugars. So this is the comparison of conventional and ultrasound assisted approach for the hydrolysis of biomass. In conventional approach, using 5% paper loading, 0.14% enzyme loading, in 72 hours of reaction time, 12.14 gram per liter reducing sugar concentration was obtained. Whereas in case of ultrasound assisted approach, using 3% paper loading, 0.08% enzyme loading, in 7 hours of reaction time, 27.9 gram per liter reducing sugar concentration was observed. So we can summarize this study by saying about 2.4 times increase in the reducing sugar concentration was achieved by the ultrasound assisted enzymatic hydrolysis. Lower substrate and enzyme loading were required in ultrasound assisted approach, and the time of reaction was significantly reduced from 72 hours to 7 hours by application of ultrasound. Then we will move to our last step of the bioethanol production, that is the fermentation of this produced sugar. So the objectives of this study were to investigate the bioethanol yield by studying different operating conditions, such as effect of ultrasonic irradiation at different growth phases, effect of ultrasonic irradiation period, effect of power, duty cycle, and to establish the fermentation kinetics. And why we studied this? Because our aim was to evaluate if ultrasound can act as a physical stimulant for enhancement of the bioethanol production. And Saccharomyces cerevisiae was chosen as the fermenting microorganism because of its high ethanol yield and productivity. It is relatively simple to culture. It is grass organism that is generally regarded as safe organism, and it is very robust in the nature. This is the experimental setup used for the treatment to the fermentation broth. Here you can see that indirect type irradiation of ultrasound was used because direct exposure of ultrasound to the fermentation broth might cause some adverse effect to the fermentation broth, that is yeast cell, and which can decrease its biomass production. So the fermentation medium consisted of yeast extract, peptone, malt extract, and the waste paper hydrolysate. And the fermentation was carried out at 30 degrees Celsius for 24 hours. The analysis of products was carried out by using different techniques. Determination of biomass was done by gravimetric method. Determination of glucose was done by DNSA method. And determination of bioethanol was carried out by using gas chromatography. And different models were used, that is logistic model, Ludeking Pirate model, and Ludeking Pirate like model were used to describe the biomass production, bioethanol production, and glucose consumption respectively. This is the graph which shows the non-sonicated fermentation, that is the control experiment where the fermentation was carried out without application of any ultrasonic irradiation. And this study was essential in order to compare with the ultrasonic irradiation. Now we will see the effect of ultrasonic irradiation at different growth phases of microorganism. Here in the graph, you can see that when ultrasonic irradiation was carried out at 4th hour and 8th hour of growth stage, no great extent biomass concentration was increased because cells were very premature at that stage to respond to the mechanical shock created by the ultrasound. And that is the case with 16th hour and 20th hour. Cells were old enough to respond to the shock wave, and hence optimum growth stage was found to be the 12th hour, where we got maximum biomass concentration and the corresponding ethanol concentration. This is the graph which shows the effect of ultrasonic irradiation time. Ultrasonic irradiation time was studied over the range of 5 minutes to 20 minutes, and 10 minutes was found to be the optimum irradiation time, where we got the maximum biomass concentration. This is shows the effect of power. 160 watt of ultrasonic power was found to be the optimum ultrasonic power, and 20% duty cycle was found to be the optimum duty cycle, giving us the optimum conditions of biomass concentration and the corresponding ethanol concentration. And this is the comparison of control and ultrasound irradiated fermentation. Here you can clearly see that because of ultrasonic irradiation, there was increase in the biomass concentration and the resulting ethanol concentration. So the yeast cells were evaluated by ESEM, and here you can see that the control cells of Saccharomyces cerevisiae were very compact in nature, whereas ultrasound treated cells were slightly swollen in the extent. So we can conclude that because of the ultrasonic treatment, more substrate uptake was done by the yeast cells from the fermentation broth because of its lesser mass transfer barrier of the nutrients to the yeast cells. So to summarize, we can say that it has been clearly established that the waste newspaper can be used as a sustainable carbon source for bioethanol production. 1.8-fold enhanced productivity was obtained at the optimum parameters, and decreased glucose concentration after ultrasonic irradiation implies improved substrate uptake phenomenon, while separated, swollen, and intact cells as seen in ESEM images confirms the favorable effect of ultrasound on yeast cell biomass. Now we will move to our next biofuel, that is biodiesel. What is this biodiesel? Biodiesel is an alternative diesel fuel which is made from the alternative biological sources such as vegetable oil, non-edible oils, and animal fats. It is very similar to the petroleum diesel fuels in its structure and number of carbon atoms. Chemically, it is also known as fatty acid methyl esters, that is FA, and it is generally produced by the esterification or the transesterification process conventionally. And what are the feedstocks for this biodiesel? Any kind of edible oil, non-edible oil, or the animal fats can be used as feedstock, but mostly rapeseed oil, soybean oil, palm oil, cottonseed oil, beef tallow, and the used cooking oil are used as the feedstocks for the biodiesel production. Now we will see the production process for this biodiesel. Conventionally, transesterification reaction is used where triglyceride reacts with methanol to give us biodiesel and the glycerin. And this process can also be done if our feedstock contains more FFA, that is free fatty acids. Then we can do the glycerolysis reaction first, where glycerin reacts with the acid to give us triglyceride, and this triglyceride is again then transesterified into the biodiesel and glycerin. And where the feedstock is high in FFA, that is free fatty acids, esterification reaction can also be done where free fatty acids reacts with methanol to give the biodiesel and water. And here the catalysts used are usually acidic catalysts, that is sulfuric acid, methane sulfonic acids, or the paratoluene sulfonic acids. And in case of transesterification reaction, usually sodium methoxide is used as the catalyst conventionally. So why we want to shift to the enzymatic processes? Because process rigidity is the enemy of adaptability. Chemical catalyst process will eventually become outdated because of its inability to switch to different feedstocks when net margins go negative, inability to size margin opportunities for low cost feedstocks, and the successful players will make more money and become more dominant. And what are these rigidity constraints in biodiesel processing? We will see three examples. If we take the example of crude palm oil, which is high in triglyceride content, first we need to stripe out the residual FFA, which is there present in the CPO, that is any kind of oil, by refining or deacidification. And then we need to transesterify this CPO using sodium methoxide catalyst for the formation of biodiesel. And what is the rigidity constraint here? It can be used only for the low FFA oils. And if we take the example of PFAD, that is palm fatty acid distillates, we need to esterify the fatty acids by using acidic catalyst. Then we need to transesterify the remaining TG material by using sodium methoxide catalyst to give us biodiesel. And what is the rigidity constraint here? It can be used only for the high FFA oils. And even if we do the glycerolysis of this PFAD, same thing happens. It can be applicable to only high FFA oils. So why to change to the enzyme processing? Because enzymatic processing gives us the flexibility of multiple feedstocks for survival. That is, multiple feedstock capability is a key to playing the market spreads. Flexible processing means you can switch to the alternative feedstocks when spreads go negative. It gives the rigidity of chemical process, locks you into the single feedstocks. Chemical catalyst can only deal with one process, either esterification or the transesterification, and lock you into the negative margins when market change. And biotechnology releases you from all this process rigidity. Enzyme processes can go with entire range of FFF feedstocks, no need of expensive pretreatment, and agile and fast moving process changes to adapt for the changing markets. Here you can see in the enzymatic process, you can take feedstock from any stream. That is, you can take the feedstock from directly from the mill, that is crude palm oil or the sludge palm oil. You can take the feedstocks from the refinery, that is PFAD, palm acid oil, edible oils, that is used cooking oils. And you can do the biodiesel reaction by using enzymes, because enzymes carry out esterification and transesterification reactions simultaneously. Then after one pot polishing, that is neutralization of the residual FFA, you can settle down, you can take out the glycerin, and after drying, you can get the pure FEM, which can be blended in any proportion. And what are the advantages? You get the feedstock flexibility, you can reduce the usage of harsh chemicals, you can get higher purity glycerin, and it is very easy for the retrofit or the new installation. So we will see the comparison of chemical versus enzymatic processing. For the capex, opex, and FEM yield, if you take the CPO, that is, if you consider the transesterification process, your capex is very high, opex is low, and FEM yield is also very low. In case of esterification process, your capex is very high, opex is medium, and FEM yield is also medium. And in case of enzymatic processing, you can take entire range of FFA feedstocks, and capex is low, opex is medium, but you can get high FEM yield. And it can give you flexibility of any level of FFA, flexibility for the dirty feedstocks such as sludge oils, and fatty matters can be recycled back. So now we will move to the actual process of production in the lab scale. In lab scale, we had carried out the biodiesel production using magnetic stirrer and the round bottom flask, and the raw material used was used cooking oil. Analysis was done by using gas chromatography. Now we will see the effect of molar ratio of oil to alcohol and enzyme loading on the transesterification reaction. Transesterification is a reversible reaction, and as per stoichiometry, only 3 moles of alcohol are required to get a mole of biodiesel. But as it is reversible reaction, usually excess of alcohol is used, and hence study was carried out using 1:3, 1:4, and 1:5 molar ratio, and 92% biodiesel yield was obtained by using 1:4 molar ratio of oil to alcohol. And this is the another graph is for the enzyme loading, as can be seen from the graph. As the enzyme loading was increased from 3% to 7%, significant increase in the biodiesel yield was observed, but further increase in the enzyme loading did not resulted in increase in biodiesel yield. This happened because usually lipase catalyzed reactions occurs at the interface of oil and alcohol, and it is possible that after 7% of enzyme loading, this interface is completely saturated with the enzyme, and hence further increase in the enzyme loading did not resulted in increase in biodiesel yield. This is the graph which shows the effect of temperature on transesterification reaction. Temperature was varied between 30 to 50 degrees Celsius, and 40 degrees Celsius was found to be the optimum temperature for the transesterification reaction. Then ultrasound assisted transesterification reaction was carried out, and here in this case also we used indirect kind of ultrasonic exposure to the reaction mixture. This is the graph which shows the effect of molar ratio of oil to alcohol and enzyme loading under ultrasonic irradiation. Here you can see that under ultrasonic irradiation, 1:3 molar ratio along with 5% enzyme loading was found to be the optimum parameters with 96% biodiesel yield. So this is the comparison of conventional and ultrasound assisted reaction. In conventional approach using 1:4 molar ratio of oil to alcohol, 7% enzyme loading, in 24 hours of reaction time, 92% biodiesel yield was obtained. Whereas in case of ultrasound assisted approach using 1:3 molar ratio, 3% enzyme loading, in 4 hours of reaction time, 96% biodiesel yield was obtained. So the summary for this study is biodiesel production was greatly improved in ultrasound assisted approach. Time of reaction was significantly reduced from 24 hours to 4 hours using ultrasonic irradiation, and the amount of enzyme required to reduce to near about 57% in presence of ultrasound. So this was all about the enzymatic processing for the biodiesel, bioethanol production and its intensification. And you have encountered in the world of enzymes today, maybe without realizing it. Like in every product which you are using on day-to-day basis contains some kind of enzymatic processes. May it be the juices, detergent, confectionery, baking, winery, poultry, biofuels, or the laundry, anything you are somewhere using the enzymatic process in the products which we are using. So Novozymes is a company which supplies all kind of industrial enzymes to the various industries, and it helps the customers to reduce the CO2 impact. In 2017, Novozymes helped customers to save around 76 million tons of CO2. This is equivalent to taking 32 million of cars off the road. And as we are talking about the biofuels, that is starch-based biofuel, that is starch-based bioethanol, if we consider, then 1,100 kg CO2 per 1,000 liter of ethanol was saved. In case of lignocellulosic bioethanol, that is biomass-based biofuel, 2,200 kg CO2 per 1,000 liter of ethanol was saved. And in case of biodiesel, that is vegetable oil, 44 kg of CO2 per ton of oil was saved. So this was all about the enzymatic processing, biofuels production, and its intensification by using ultrasound. Thank you so much everyone for the listening. And if you have any questions regarding anything on the topics which we discussed, you can reach out to me on my email address or the contact number.
Yes, Dr. Preeti, are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Dr. Yuvraj, he has asked what are the C values you got for biodiesel you produced.
I'm not getting what is the C value
You got for biodiesel you produced.
I'm not getting what is the C value he's talking about. What Yuvraj is talking about, the C values.
Okay, next question. Ramesh sir asked that he want to know any other value added product from biomass rather than ethanol.
Yes, there are so many value added products which we can get from the biomass. Not only ethanol, ethanol is the conventional product which we are getting from several years, but from lignocellulosic biomass, you can get n number of products that when we are fractionating this biomass into lignin, cellulose and hemicellulose, we can get the value added product from every stream. That is, if we consider the cellulose as the stream for our value added product, then we can use this cellulose as a nanocellulose for the composite, for the preparation of composite material. From hemicellulose we can get different kinds of pentose sugar such as xylose, and this xylose can be used for the production of sweeteners which is xylitol and which is widely used in the chewing gum. And from the lignin also we can make different kind of adhesives and the composite materials. So the lignocellulosic biomass is one of the biomass where any of your stream can never go waste. We can make the value addition from each and every stream we are getting after the pre-treatment.
Actually, C values is calorific values. The question was, what are the C values you got for the biodiesel you produced?
No, we haven't studied for the calorific values.
Next question is from Ajay Kumar Gudekar, that can the loading be increased from around 1% in the first stage to more, say 10%, so that commercial feasibility increases?
Yes, for some of the biomass, you can increase the biomass loading, but we were studying on the newspaper, which absorb the moisture too much and it becomes the slurry where it becomes very difficult to mix if we are increasing the biomass concentration. So if you are taking another biomass where you can get the homogeneous slurry and which can be stirred easily, then you can of course increase the biomass loading.
Then some Ramnath Kadam sir, he asked, any commercial setup of ultrasonication working in India?
No, in India we do not have like ultrasonic setup as in conventional cavitation we do not have. But for the other applications such as for wastewater treatment, hydrodynamic cavitation is being industrially used for many years. And in other countries like in European countries, work is being in progress for the cavitation for the biodiesel production. In Germany, there is a company which is working on the commercialization of this ultrasound assisted biodiesel production.
Last question from Rina Matre madam. Do biofuels affect that production of food?
No, that is why we were talking about the lignocellulosic biofuel, because the other food stocks for the biofuel production, that is bioethanol production, can have this food versus fuel controversy. That is why we focused on the lignocellulosic biomass, which is completely non-edible.
Question is over, I think. Thank you, Dr. Preeti Subedar, for such an informative presentation on biofuels. You explained about bioethanol, biodiesel, and comparison between fossil fuels and biofuels on the basis of environmental pollution and calorific values, etc. Biofuels are mostly, the important fact is they are environmental friendly and biodegradable. Now, biofuel is also used in aviation turbine fuel. And Dr. Preeti also explained us about first generation, second generation, third generation bioethanol and different methods for biofuel production, bioethanol and biodiesel, how to intensify the production of bioethanol using ultrasound process with 20 kilohertz ultrasound frequency, then using waste newspaper as to produce bioethanol. She has taken one case study and nicely explained about all the experimental procedure, and the effect of various parameters like temperature, loading of paper, etc. About the fermentation and biodiesel production also she explained. This is a very nice informative uh, session on biofuels. And regarding instruments also, infrared spectroscopy, scanning electron spectroscopy, gas chromatography, she explained nicely. And I think all the participants must be satisfied with her presentation. And thank you, Preeti.
Thank you so much, madam. Thank you so much.
Sir, your microphone is mute.
Thank you very much, Dr. Preeti. It was a really very insightful session. Now, actually, we will have the next session at around 4:15, and it will be taken care by Dr. Rajeshri. So, by that time, the participants can have a break for 15 minutes. So, we can join at around 4:15. So, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Preeti. And thank you all the participants. And congratulations again to Dr. Kole and his colleagues for having organized. Thank you, DG sir. Yeah.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Rajeshri madam, we can start the second session.
Hello everyone. I am Dr. Rajashri Raman Zavre, working as an assistant professor in Department of Chemical Engineering, MGMCET Navi Mumbai, MGMCET Kamote Navi Mumbai. Welcome one and all for FDP on development and impact of recent technologies and innovations in chemical engineering, session 2 on 21st June 2020. I'm here to welcome and introduce our session speaker, Dr. Pankaj Patil. Dr. Pankaj, welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Dr. Pankaj is currently working as lead engineer chemical engineering science in Suez Water Technologies and Solutions Private Limited, Bangalore. Sir was manager in process in Ghada Scientific Research Foundation, MIDC, Lotte. Sir has experience being an R&D in charge for the Ghata Scientific Research Foundation R&D Center, Ghada Institute of Technology, GIT Campus, Lovell. Sir has also been an associate professor in the chemical engineering department of Ghada Institute of Chemical Technology under University of Mumbai. Sir has completed his PhD in the technology in the stream of chemical engineering in 2014. Sir, welcome you all once again. During the research and education, Sir has credited many awards and accomplishments. And I would like to list some of them as follows. Emission Control Manufacturer Associations, ECMS, Global Learning Initiative Award, Delhi 2012. MP Chari Award for Outstanding Young Chemical Engineer below the age of 35 years, SChemCon 2015. Professor S.B. Chandalia Best Research Student Award at Institute of Chemical Technology 2012, and many more. Sir also has an international research experience with India-Hungary collaborative project in the University of West Hungary. Sir has published 8 research publications in peer-reviewed journals. Sir also has written a book chapter in Handbook of Ultrasonics and Sonochemistry. Meanwhile, Sir also contributes for 16 plus conferences, workshops, and seminars, and over 7 and more as in expert lectures. Sir, we would like it is our pleasure to have you with us. I will hand over the speaker to Dr. Pankaj Patil.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Rajashri, for such a nice introduction. And I'm happy to deliver the talk. And I'm thankful to the entire organizing team of the MGMCOT and especially Chemical Engineering Department for giving me this opportunity. Yeah, once again, thank you, Dr. Rajashri, for the introduction. Yeah, and so now for the entire further 1 hour, we'll be talking, or I'll be talking about research report writing. So report means this will be, if you say any report, then definitely there will be some certain formats. So what I am thinking is the report means even if it is a thesis or it is a research paper or any report, so that entire thing I will try to cover in this session. So next slide, please.
Just a minute, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So before going to the specific report, I would like to spend few minutes on what is the research. I know all of you, those are the participants here, are mostly the faculty members and some research scholars. So, but still, again, those who have started or those who are in the first preliminary phase of research, so it will be helpful for them to so that I can spend a couple of minutes on what is this research meaning. So, what is research? We know that this research is nothing but a systematic approach to obtain and confirming new and reliable knowledge. I once again say new and reliable knowledge. So it is a process which is a systematic and orderly. Definitely, it has a certain series of steps that needs to be conducted. And what is the purpose? That purpose is definitely a new knowledge that which must be a reliable. Yeah. So this is the purpose of research. And another definition is there, that is, it is a systematic process of collecting and analyzing information by a scientific or logical procedure that aims to solve a particular scientific problem. Yes, this particular scientific problem, this word is very important. That means whenever there is some problem, we definitely have to do some research to get the solution for that. Consider the current situation, as we know that this COVID-19, that coronavirus, is a big challenge for the country. So definitely this is a problem, and to get the solution of this, the research is definitely required. That is the one example that can I give you right now, which is very important. Next slide, please. Yeah, once again, again, what research is? Research is searching for explanation of events, phenomena, relationship, and causes. It is a process which asks what, how, and why these things are occurring. And definitely, it again asks, are there any interactions between the things? So this is a process of asking many number of questions. Then again, as I told you, it is a process which is well planned and managed to make the information generated credible. It is the importance is that information should be credible. Then obviously the process is creative and it is a circular process. That means it always lead to the further questions. That means if you reach at the certain point, definitely there will be a further question. Then how this happens. So it's always in a circular mode. That's why I say it is a circular process. Next, please. Yeah, again, all well-designed and conducted research has potential application. What I'm saying is, yes, whenever we have a problem, we generally go and do the research to get the solution for that. And definitely, it is having some application. That's why whenever the research is well-designed and conducted well, definitely there is a certain potential for the application. And if you see any failure to see the application, there might be a couple of reasons. That is, users not trained or experienced in the specialized method of research and reasoning. And another reason could be researchers often do not provide adequate interpretations and guidance on applications of the research. So it is very important to give the adequate interpretations and the guidance on how to use this research. That means whatever, if you have finded out something, then how to apply this for a specific problem, that is very important. And if you could not able to put these things, then it will be the failure for the research. And the last point you can see on the slide is researchers are responsible to help users understand research implications. That means if you have done some research, definitely it's your responsibility to help others to understand what you have done, how to apply this. Next, please. Yeah, this let's talk about the process of research. What is the general process of research? There are I listed 5 points. So we will go through one by one. The first is the process is initiated with a question or a problem. Again, why I'm saying this is initiated with a question or problem? Again, as I gave you earlier the example of coronavirus. So this is the problem. That means the process of research initiated with this COVID-19 or the coronavirus problem. Another reason, another example I can give you here is the let's say we have all kind of pollutions, right? Water pollution, air pollution, noise pollution. These all are the problems. That's why this is so if you consider a specific problem, let's say water pollution. So that is the problem. That means we should, that is the question for us, that how to treat this wastewater, how to resolve this problem of water pollution. So it starts with a question or a problem. For example, I will use this example, that is of water pollution in a further process. So yes, obviously that is my research topic. That's why it will be easier for me to explain you about this on this specific problem. So our problem now is the water pollution or the industries. Those are creating. Those are means the wastewater that is coming from different industries containing different hazardous pollutants. So that is the problem for us. So next step is, and in next step, what we do is next goals and objectives are formulated to deal with question of the problem. So now problem is that water pollution is our problem, and so on this problem, what we can do is we can set the goals and objectives. So what could be our goal and objective? Our goal and objective could be to treat this such a kind of wastewater, or specifically, if you want to say, to treat the wastewater such a way that its COD, that is chemical oxygen demand, should be less than 250, which is nothing but the as per the regulations by the government. So we are now setting the goal and objective in like way. That is our goal and objective for this specific problem is to treat the specific wastewater coming from the industry so that the COD should be less than 250. So this could be our goal and the objective. The next step is the research design is developed to achieve the objectives. So how now our problem is there. Now goals and objectives we have decided. The next step is research design. Means how to do this. Yeah, it is fine that we want to reduce the COD or we want to take down the COD to 50. But how to do that? To do that, definitely there is certain method is required. That is a specific design is required. That means which process you are going to use, and now which experiment, different kind of experiments you are going to use, then different parameters that we are going to study. So this everything comes under the research design. The next point is results are generated by conducting the research. And once you have decided which process you are going to use, what you can do is you can conduct results. That means you can carry out number of experiments and you can get the different data. That is nothing but the outcomes from your research. That means you have collected various data. And the final step is interpretation and the analysis of result. What this interpretation analysis means? Yes, now you have different data. That means you have different results. But what you can interpret from that result? How it is useful, or what happens when the one parameter is changing from x value to the y value. So this kind of things, that is giving the explanation and searching for this explanation, is nothing but the interpretation and the analysis of result. So this is this 5 stage process is nothing but the, that is what I want to convey to you. That is, this is the process of research. Let's go to the next slide, please. Again, this is another view, or you can say I can again talk about some things on this research process of research. Again, you can see the first point, that is the problem identification. Yes, in again our case, the problem is nothing but water pollution. The next step is, you can see, collect relevant data. What I mean to say here, collect relevant data means, now yes, we know the water pollution is the problem, but what we should have some data to go ahead. That is, which type of water pollution? Is it industrial water or is it domestic water? Because we know there are different sources of different sources of wastewater. So we have to collect the relevant data for this. That means from which industry how much water is coming, or domestic water contains with different pollutants. So all these information we should collect. That is nothing but what I want to say, collect relevant data. Then next point is our problem statement. So depending upon that data, we have to specifically say what is our problem statement. Again, I will see the same example I gave you, to treat the wastewater from a specific industry so that the chemical oxygen demand should be less than 250. So this is our problem statement. The next is, now we have decided the problem. The next is literature review. What this literature review? So depending upon these, there are n number of reports you can find in the literature which talks about the different wastewater treatment processes and the techniques. So you have to go through this literature completely as much as possible, specifically on the wastewater treatment, as we have decided the problem now statement. So on that statement, look at the different processes or the techniques that other researchers have used to treat those such kind of wastewater. And the next point is hypothesis. So now, depending upon whatever literature you have done, what you can do is that there must be some loopholes or some limitations or the disadvantages of the techniques and the processes that different authors or different researchers have used. So you have to search for those. That means if so and so process is there, but what could be the limitations of these? So depending upon that limitations or the gaps, so you can decide on the hypothesis that so and so researchers have did so and so studies, but there are certain gaps. So that gaps can be filled by so and so process. That means you have to say that, so one of the specific technology or the process, like for example, I will say oxidation processes. So what you can say that, so number of researchers have studied different methods, but there are certain limitations, like it is not cost effective, or it is not energy effective, or it is not treating these different pollutants completely. So I hypothesize that the oxidation processes is having the potential to treat this such kind of wastewater. So your hypothesis will be that these advanced oxidation processes have the capability to treat such kind of wastewater. So depending upon your hypothesis, what you have to do next is you have to decide the methodology. That means how you are going to conduct your experiment, what will be your reactor, what will be your techniques, what are the procedures, so that everything comes under the methodology. Next is data collection and entry. So depending upon whatever method you have decided, you can carry out different experiments and collect the data, and that you can enter somewhere, maybe in the computers. The next point is data analysis. So whatever results you have obtained, you need to analyze that. That means, for example, if you have done the effect, you have checked the effect of pH or effect of pressure or the effect of temperature. So what I want to say, data analysis means if you have conducted the different experiments at different pH, let's say 4, 5, 6, and 7, and you found that as the pH is decreasing or it is going towards the acidic, your results are better. That means that is nothing but the analyzing. That means you have data at 4 pH, 5 pH, 6 pH, and 7 pH. But what you are doing now is which is the best, whether I am getting good results at 4 pH or the 7 pH. So that is nothing but the analysis. Then the interpretation. So again, this interpretation, discussion, and the analysis you can combine, and which talks about why it happened. If the acidic pH, that is 4 pH, is better, then why? What are the reason behind that? That you should be able to explain. You should be able to interpret that, and you should be able to discuss that. So these three steps talks about these findings, and the final step is nothing but the conclusion. Yes, conclusion is nothing but whatever you have done and what you can able to achieve. That everything comes in the conclusion. I'll talk more about these points in further slides. Yeah. Now the common question, yes, who needs the research? So I'll say almost everybody needs the research. The first point you can see, undergraduate students. The students, those are performing, those are in their final years. So definitely they have to do the final year project. Definitely they need the research. Then there are graduate students. Those have completed their bachelor's degree, and if they want to go for the master's or the PhD, they have to do the research. Then doctors and faculties and consultants, everybody, almost everyone needs the research. Why I'm saying faculties? Yes, because faculties can write write to different grants, and they can get the different grants, and they can do the research. Or similar time, they can be associated with some industries as a consultant, and definitely then also they have to do the research. So that's why I'm saying these all these whatever the points I have listed, they all these need the research. Next, please. The next point is again the common question: why do research? What is the need of doing research? So there are different points again. The first point you can see that opportunity to discover new knowledge and expand about what you already know. That means you have the opportunity to do something new. Now just imagine if you do some research and to be able to get the solution for or the vaccine for the coronavirus. So imagine what you will get. That means definitely you will be able to generate very much important and new knowledge. And another thing, even if it is not a problem of coronavirus, that is a big problem. But even if you say the small problems, then definitely whatever you are working in, whatever area you are working, you can expand further. You can go beyond. That's why this is the opportunity. The research is the opportunity to expand your research further. And then next point is gain hands-on experience. Definitely the area in which you are working, you will get the hands-on experience on that specific problem. Then work closely with faculty, mentor, and connect with experts. So whenever you are doing the research, you have the best opportunity to connect with experts, different experts in that specific field. Then earn academic credit, scholarships, stipends, and other awards. That means you can able to get the different such kind of credits or the awards from the research that you have conducted. Then improve your leadership, teamwork, and time management skills. Why I'm saying this? This is a very much important. Generally, we ignore this, but whenever you are doing the research, you are leading your topic, right? So you develop the leadership attitude in you. Then definitely while doing the research, you have to be engaged with different members, like team members. Maybe for if you are doing some experiments, you have to depend on the different different team for the analysis. So in this way, you can develop your teamwork attitude also. And the last or the best one is the time management. So when doing research, you definitely have to be time bound, and it helps to improve your time management skills. Then learn to effectively communicate and how to analyze or critique other work. So yes, definitely when doing the research, you have to present it somewhere, maybe to the agencies that you have provided the grant, or the your superiors, or maybe the if you are a research student, then definitely in front of your guide. So definitely while presenting these, it definitely helps to improve your communication skills. And of course, whenever you are doing research, you again have to talk with many people or the many experts. So again, it is helping to effectively communicate. Then gain a deeper understanding of the scientific process, develop research questions, and form and test your hypothesis. Yes. Then the next point is you learn what it's like to work in a lab and learn about the planning of experiments. Again, is the common thing. And the last point you can see, you can publish your work and get recognized globally. So why I kept this point at last? Because this is the today's topic. So definitely when you do the research, you have the opportunity to publish your work. And if you could able to publish it at the perfect platform, definitely you can be recognized globally. So this is worldwide. That means if you publish a paper in a good journal, that can be accessed worldwide. So you can be recognized globally. That is the biggest advantage of research that I will say. Next slide, please. Yeah, so coming to the point now, writing a report or the research paper. I already told you report means can be thesis or can be your research paper. So let's talk about what to do before writing. So first point is from the beginning of your project, think about experiments in terms of future papers. What I am saying is, whenever you start, when you start going to start your work, definitely at that time only you have to decide that if I do so and so parameters, if I do so and so number of experiments, then I can write the paper on. So right from the beginning, think that how I can publish the paper on this specific topic. The next is assemble all the data before writing than during the process. At this point, what I am saying, now you are ready with your results. That means you have completed all the experiments, you have carried out the results, you got all the data. So assemble all that data before you are sitting for the writing than during the process. So it always helps to generate, to assemble all the data before only. Then decide what are the key conclusions of the paper or the report. Do you have all the data and the figures to prove your point? So the conclusion is very important. I already told you. So you have to decide what are the major conclusions, what are the key conclusions of my research, and am I able to justify that? So definitely you have to collect that much data or that many figures or that many data so that you can uh, confidently say that these are the conclusions that I come to it. Then give an informal oral presentation. Why I'm saying that give the oral presentation? Because whenever if you give the oral presentation, let's say you are giving the presentation in front of maybe your supervisor, guide, or the team. So what happens whenever you give the presentations, there will be many questions from the participants, and they can ask you anything because everybody is thinking it different, so they can ask you any questions. So that is the helping you to search for the explanations. If some question comes, definitely you have to think on that how to answer this question. So it is better to do the oral presentation. Then resolve authorship issues. Corresponding author is usually a senior author. Why I'm saying this? Because generally there are the teams that are working on a specific problem. Let's see, in a group of 3 or 4, you are working on a specific problem or you are working on a specific research area. Then once you have collected all the data, means all 4 you have collected, then definitely there can be the issues that somebody will say my name should be the first or my name should be the second. So you have to resolve those issues. That who will be the first author and who will be the corresponding author. Corresponding author means I think everybody has shown definitely at least some papers. So corresponding author means there is a star mark and who is able to so that if you are going through a specific paper and if you have any questions, so you can write to that corresponding author. That means the email ID of that corresponding author is provided. So that is nothing but the corresponding author. And generally these corresponding authors are your guide or the senior person whoever in the group. Then last point is have printed copies of the key references at hand. Why I'm saying? Because key references means if you are working on a specific topic, water treatment, then the specific work related to your work, you can get some printed copies of that references so that it will help you to write on your paper. Next, please. Can you go to next slide, please?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Just a minute. I guess the system hang up.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, please let me know if my voice is breaking because I am some network fluctuations are there. So please let me know if the voice is going down so that I can join again. Please let me know. Yeah. So to continue again, first point you can see is download instruction for authors. So now you have all the data and you are going to start the writing. So you have to decide. So for which journal you are going to publish your paper. So whenever you are going to the site of that specific journal, or even if you are writing a thesis, then definitely there are certain guidelines by the university to there are certain guidelines to write the thesis or to write the paper. So you have to first download all the instructions for the authors, and you have to go through that. Then note limitations like page numbers, word and character count, number of figures, number of tables. So there are different limitations as per the different journals and the thesis. So you have to note at the start only that this should be the I should limit at these many number of figures of the table. Then next point is it is best to know the limits in advance than have to go back and change the paper later. Why I am saying this? Because for example, you have written one abstract of maybe 1,000 words, and you come to know that after that the limitation for the words of the abstract is 500. So think on this. You have written for 1,000 words, and now you come to know that only 500 words are allowed. So again, you have to cut down that, and that will be the extra effort. So it is always better to know the first, to know it what are the limits. Then print out 1 or 2 examples of a high quality paper in your field in this journal. Again, in this journal. What I'm saying, why I'm saying in this journal, because that specific journal paper is the one who is reflecting all the limitations or the what are the instructions that you are required. You can see that paper, and in the same format you can write your own. Then note specific styles like italics or the bold or the what will be the font of headings, what will be the font of your text, and how to write hours. Means is it HOURS or is it HRS? Whether to use short form or the long form. There are different things. Like some are saying write FIG for the figure, or some are saying write the complete word. So it's always better to look at these specifications at the start only. Next, please. Yeah, starting out again. You can see the clock there. Set a deadline and have a reward system. It is always great to set the deadline first and have a reward system. Otherwise, the why I'm saying set a deadline, because you need to be really fast. Because if you are doing a specific research on a very novel topic, and if you are late in publishing that, so somebody else, because at a time, now again the example of corona, so n number of researchers, many researchers all the worldwide are working on that. So it is always good if you have some, if you found something, you go for the writing paper or the patenting it. So always set a deadline and have a reward system. Then it is best to just put something down, edit it afterwards. Why I'm saying this? So whatever you have done, just write it down. Yeah, now you know the limitations, so just write it down whatever you know now, and you can edit it definitely afterwards. Then just start writing the data as if you were describing them to your colleagues. Now, yes, if we don't have the experience on writing these reports, so definitely if you are writing a first paper, I know many of you have written many documents earlier also, but those who are new or those who are not could able to publish till now, so definitely there is some confusions, or definitely there is some something in mind how to write. So it is always better that put everything on the paper or on the your computer, like you are just telling to your colleague that I have done so and so, I have done this so and so, then I collected these, then I did so many number of experiments, then I checked the effect of pH. So just put this like thing everything, then lay out general arguments and then go into the details. So while writing, definitely in your mind also there will be some questions. Oh, I have written this, but what could be the discussion for this? What could be the reasons for this? Then, so you can lay out some general arguments, and then further you can go into the details. Then, last point you can see is the write the introduction first. Why I am saying write the introduction first? Because introduction is the easiest. Again, this is not the rule of thumb. This is my point of view, that you can write the introduction first, which is very easier. That I will be discussing in the next slides. Yeah, in general it is easiest to write materials, and so the last point on the previous slide was the introduction. So after introduction, what I prefer to write is, it is generally easiest to write materials and methods and the results. Again, why I am saying this, it is easier to write materials and methods, because you have worked on the specific research topic. You know which materials you have used, you know which methods you have followed, how you have conducted the experiments, that everything you know. So it is very easy to write about the materials and the methods. And the results is because you have already carried out the number of experiments and you have some data. So this is the point I'm saying, it is very easy to write. The next is write the discussion, conclusion, references, and finally the abstract. So after completing material, method, and results, you can go to the discussion. On this specific like discussion, conclusion, I'll be talking on specific slides, but you can follow this sequence, like introduction first, then material method, results, discussion, conclusion, and the finally abstract. Why finally abstract? Because abstract is nothing but the combination of your complete paper. Everything comes under the abstract in a short. Then the title is critical. It must be short and big picture without overselling. Why I'm saying title is critical? Because whenever you are doing a literature survey, what you put there in searching, or maybe in Google or maybe in Science Direct or the Scopus, whatever, wherever you are putting, that is nothing but the keywords. Like if you are specifically looking at the wastewater treatment, then you will put the wastewater treatment there. And if you have used a specific maybe technique like cavitation, so you will put the word cavitation there. So definitely this the whatever suggestions that search engine will give is definitely mainly related to the title. So it is a very critical thing to write the title neatly, and it should be a big picture. Then expect to write multiple drafts, so keep track of them carefully. Why multiple drafts? Because consider you have written one draft first, and then you have given it to the maybe your colleague. Then definitely he will go through that and he will give some comments. He will say that no, this is not good. You have to write something extra, or you have to take out this. Then that will be the secondary revision. Then suppose you are giving it to maybe your guide or your superior. That time again he will go through he will go through that, and again he will give his comments on that. So definitely you have to be prepared, or in your mind, uh, prepare yourself that you have to write number of drafts, and you have to keep the track of them carefully. Next, please. Yes, as I told you, we will touch one by one on this. So, introduction. What is the introduction? The first paragraph is crucial for catching the attention of the audience. As everybody know that whenever we are reading a paper, suppose the first paragraph is getting your interest, then only you will going to read it further. Then only you are going to finish that paper. But if it is not that interesting, definitely you will stop there only. So your first paragraph is very crucial, and it should catch the attention of the audience. Then, if you don't catch the attention of the audience in the first few sentences, the chances are high that they won't continue reading. I already told you this. So make the first sentence both snappy and profound. So it should be snappy. So whenever somebody reads your first paragraph, he should get the interest, and he should read that paper up to the end. The introduction should be the scene of your unique contribution and place it is context. I'll tell you what should be there in the introduction. Now, how the introduction will be. Again, come to our topic, that is wastewater treatment. So, what everything will come in the introduction. So, your introduction start with, now, yes, the wastewater is the problem, and so are these are the sources from where the wastewater is coming, and this is creating a problem for the living organism. So this everything will come in the introduction. Then what will be the next thing of your introduction? Yes, this is the problem. That's why the research in this area, or these are the limitation. That's why the research in this area is very important. So that will come. And next, what will come is you are going to do the literature survey for this. So in that, or in literature, you have to put some literature survey that so and so authors have done so and so studies in this specific area, and these are the limitations. And depending upon these, you have to write one paragraph on your hypothesis. That means, as there are some limitations, I am proposing so and so method to treat this wastewater. So that will also come in your introduction. So this combine everything will come as the introduction. Next, please. Yeah, the next topic I said, after introduction, it is better to write methods and results. So yes, the first point says subheadings are very useful and help keep the issues separate. So it is always good to put the subheadings. Like for example, if you are using maybe a series of steps, like some different 4 or 5 steps you are using in your research. So it is always good to write the subheadings for the first step, second step, third step, instead of combining these all. So it is always beneficial, or it is always helpful to write the subheadings. Very useful. Then don't include interpretation of the data, that is discussion, in the result section. Again, there are you can say how you are saying like this, to don't include the discussion, because in many papers you can see the results and discussion. This section is generally combined. So it is up to you. It doesn't matter if you are writing results and discussion separately, or you are combining. So whenever you want a link between the results, so you can definitely combine it with the discussion. So don't worry about that. You should write the result separately and the discussion separately. You can definitely merge that. Then arrange figure panels so they are referred to in order. So you have to properly arrange the different figures and the tables. Then figures must have a short title in the form of sentence. Yes, so every table or the figure should have a title in the form of sentence. Then in the methods, take special care for the units, especially in different fonts. As I already told you, there are different fonts. There are different fonts that needs to be used, or there are different styles, maybe italics, or you have to write the short forms, or you have to write the long form of that. So you have to be careful while writing that. And again, in method, I told you method is nothing but the process that you have followed to do your research. Which chemicals you have used, which equipments you have used, how these equipments work, how to start this, how to stop this, that everything come in the method. And the result is nothing but whatever experiments you have performed, like effect of pH, effect of temperature, effect of pressure. So whatever data you have collected, that will come under the results. Next, please. Next point is the discussion. So as first point says, do not make this predominantly a rehash of either the introduction or the results. So generally what happens now, whenever we are writing this section separately, discussion, we generally we generally try to repeat whatever we have written in introduction and whatever we have written in the results. So don't make the rehash of whatever you have written earlier in the introduction or the results. So it should be the different from that. what this discussion is, that second point is telling, it should present the overall significance of your work and show how it agrees or disagrees with previous models or allows spread observations to be drawn together. Now I'll tell you what discussion is. So now you have results. Let's say again, now we have effect of temperatures. So you have studied the effect of temperature and you have different focal points at different temperatures like 20 degrees Celsius, 30, 40 and 50 degrees Celsius. So now you come to know that your 30 degrees Celsius is the favorable, or it is the good temperature that can be used to treat the wastewater. So what you have to write here is why this 30 degrees Celsius is important, or why this 30 degrees Celsius is giving the better results. So you should write there that that could be the reason that higher temperatures are favoring the rate of reaction, or the high temperatures are opposing your phenomena, whatever you are using. So likewise, you have to write why this is happening. So that comes in the discussion. And at the same time, you have to support your findings with some literature. That means if you are saying the 30 degrees Celsius or the lower temperatures or the ambient temperatures are favorable, then you should have to support your finding with some findings in the literature. So you have to write there, yes, so and so things have also been observed by some researchers in the literature, and you have to cite that specific literature there. So it is very important to cite these specific things. How to cite that I will be talking in the further slide. The last one you can see is it is, please go to the last slide. The last one you can see is it is often very helpful to have a figure of new model that is based on your finding. Figure of new model, why I'm saying, because in just one figure you can combine everything whatever you're finding out. So just by looking at that specific figure, the person who is reading can get what completely there in your paper. Next please. Yeah, the next point is the conclusion. The main purpose of conclusion chapter is to show how you have attempted to fill the gap on knowledge that was identified earlier, and to clarify to what extent the study has been successful. Again, I told you in conclusion what will come is that I have done so and so things and I could able to achieve so and so things. That means it is not necessary that you have decided I will be able to achieve the COD definitely less than 250, but sometimes it doesn't happen. You could able to treat it up to maybe 400. So you have to clearly specify that yes, I could able to achieve these the COD to be reduced up to 400, so that everything will come. And you can write there that whatever the gap was there, that means the earlier processes were might not be the cost effective, but you can prove that this is the cost effective process. Might be initially somebody is requiring X amount of money to treat that, and you can say that by doing this research or by the calculation, I can do this just by an X minus something. So you can definitely write that. So I could able to fill that gap, and yes, further there is a scope to do the research. So you can see there are 4 basic steps to take in writing conclusion. The first point is summarize your research. So you have to summarize what is you have done. Then spell out your contribution. What was your contribution as compared to the means whatever earlier have done. What are the your contribution in that? Then state the limitations of your study. What are the limitations? As I already told you, it's 250 is the requirement, but you could able to treat it up to 400. So that will be the limitation. Yes, I could not able to go up to 250. So that is my limitation. Or might be the limitation could be it is more cost effective, or it is limitation could be it is more intense. That means it is consuming more cost or more energy. That could be the limitation. Then last point is suggest potential areas of further research. So depending upon whatever research you have done till now, you can suggest definitely what can be done in future. Right? If I could able to reach up to 400 COD, then you can definitely say there is a scope. There is a scope in the future, so that how to take that 400 to less than that to be 250 COD. So that everything comes in the conclusion. Next, please. Yeah, the next is I already told you. The abstract is the thing that you have to write at the last. Why last? Because abstract again is the combination of everything. In abstract, all the things come. Introduction also comes, material method, results, conclusion, everything comes in the abstract in a short way. The abstract is the last section of the thesis to be written, thesis or the paper, whatever you say. It is written after the research has been completed. Yes, obviously. It provides the reader with a summary of the contents of the thesis. So all the contents of your thesis can be fitted into just the abstract. It is generally one of the first a reader will look at, and therefore it is important that the abstract gives the reader a good initial impression. Again, after the title of the paper, definitely the thing that you are going to read is the abstract. I know everybody might have gone through some papers, and yes, if the abstract is interesting or if abstract is useful for us, we can go further reading the paper. So this is very important thing, abstract in the paper. Yes, in abstract, an abstract should ideally present these information following the order in which the information is presented in the thesis or the paper. The first point is the purpose or the objectives of the research. Why you are carrying out this research? That should come in your abstract, maybe in a 1 or 2 lines. Then next is the reasons or the justifications why the research was carried out. Yes, you have done the research, but why you have carried out? That should come there. Then next point is the research method, techniques employed. Which different methods that you have employed or that you have used, that should come in your abstract. The main results and the conclusion should come in your abstract. And finally, the recommendation. So what is your recommendation based on your research? That should also come. So again, it is the combination of everything that is of your thesis or the paper. Next, please. Yeah, talking about some general style. Yes, everybody knows there is a spelling and the grammar function which is available in the Microsoft Word. So you can definitely go through that, or you can definitely see that if there is a red mark, then there is a spelling mistake, and if there is a green mark, there is a grammatical mistake. But remember that even the word is telling us that this is a wrong spelling. But if you look at the example that is shown in the second point, that we added halt and then heater for 2 hours to denature the protein, rather than if you say we added salt and then further line. So you can see in first line there is a halt, HALT, and in second line there is a salt, SALT. But word could not suggest you that this is the right or the wrong, because for word, halt is also the correct spelling and salt is also the correct spelling. So don't be dependent completely on the word. That is what I want to convey here. Then text can be written either in the past or present tense. So again, in our mind, it is big confusion whether to write in the past tense or in the present tense. So it doesn't matter, whatever you are comfortable, you can go through that specific tense. But only thing is you have to be consistent. If you are writing in a past tense, you should consistent in that, and if you are writing in a present, you should write in the present, at least in that specific paragraph. So don't go in present and past in a similar paragraph. That is what I want to say here. Next, please. Yes, avoid the passive voice. One example is shown there. Why to avoid the passive voice? Because you can see on the first one on the right side, the genes were seen to be expressed. And with this, you can replace this sentence by the genes were expressed. You can see the second sounds good. So it is always good to avoid the passive voice. Go with the active voice. Then paragraphs are important to break the text into the reasonable units. Think if there is a complete page is written without any paragraph, so definitely it will be boring for us. So if it is written in a proper paragraph, then it will be interesting, and it will be the reader can understand it better. So it is always good to cut down your pages in the specific paragraphs. So you can use a specific paragraph for a specific parameter, like one paragraph for pH, one paragraph for temperature, one paragraph for pressure, so that. Then avoid excessive use of boring verbs, such as generally we have the tendency, the words which we like, generally we goes on putting those words repeat. So it is always better to avoid those boring words. The next point is avoid complex ways of saying a simple things. There is one example in the last lines. The results showed that dog weight increased versus the dog's weight more. So you can see the second sentence is more good, or it is more simple. So it is always good to use the simple sentences rather than saying the same thing in a complex way. Next, please. The next is before giving the draft, what you have to do is check the figure versus the text. Because consider that in many times what we have to do is generally we have to write the text separately, and we have to give the file for the figures separately. So it is always good to check the figures versus the text. And in running text, for example, if you are writing in the text, so the effect of temperature is as shown in the figure 4. So please check that your figure number 4 is for that specific temperature only or pH only. Or what will happen? You are giving the figure number 5 to the pH, and you are writing in the text that figure number 4 is for pH. So always better to check that. Then check the references versus the text. What the references means? Again, in writing, we have to cite the different references. So whenever you are citing some reference, that is maybe name of author or the number, so you have to cross check whether that similar number is there in the reference list or not. So you have to check citations across the references. This I will talk again in the further slides. But next point is check the figures legends. What is legends? Nothing but yes, everybody know what this legends is. You have to check that again. In general, edit a paper after printing it out and reading it as a whole, rather than editing it on a computer screen. I think many of you will agree with me. So suppose you are writing continuously, maybe for 20 days you are writing. Then you will feel saturated, and even if there is a mistake in front of you on the word, you could not be able to identify that. So it is always best take the printout and read it. So whenever you have hard copy in front of you, you can able to judge those mistakes and you can correct them afterwards. Then be psychologically prepared to throw out and rewrite whole sections and not to cling to the original. Again, I gave you the example in the previous slide that you should be prepared psychologically that whenever you are right, it could be required that you have to throw this all. Suppose you have written something and you went to your guide or your supervisor, and your supervisor is saying, no, whatever you have written is not up to the point, or this is not good, you have to remove this, you have to change this. So you should be psychologically prepared that you have to change. If required, you need to change. Even if your suppose your guide or your maybe supervisor have passed it, yes, it is good. But what will happen if you send it to the journal? Then there is a review process for the journals, and the reviewer can suggest you maybe different things to change. So again, you have to psychologically prepare for those. And the last point is be flexible. Again, it depends on the similar to the second last point. So you have to be flexible. Then have the paper read by several people. Why several people? Again, I will say if you are writing, you could not able to judge your mistakes. But if you give the same copy to the another one, maybe your colleague, maybe your friend, it will be they can able to judge some mistakes, or they can able to suggest you. So you can write it better way, or you can write further here. So it is always good to read by the several people. And then check and recheck spellings, figures, references, legends, etc. etc. Reviewers can be really annoyed by careless editing, and mistakes reflect badly on your sense. Why I'm saying this, though it is a very small things like maybe spellings, figures, references. So if you comment some mistakes there, so generally the reviewers, those are going through your paper, they can think that, oh, this specific researcher could not able to take care of the small things, then how he can do the good research? So they can reject your paper at that point only. So it is always better to write these things more specifically, or you should take the care. And again, it is good to give your paper to be maybe any one English expert, because yes, we know we are maybe technically very well sound, but sometimes those are maybe those are not that much expert in the English. So it is always good to give that paper to be maybe maybe an expert in the English, so he can correct our mistakes grammatically or maybe some spelling mistake. So it is always advisable to give it to the maybe some English expert. Then make sure you have followed all the requirements of the journal about electronic submission. Yes, and all these requirements are again these requirements are again mentioned in the your journal's specifications. Whenever you are going to a specific website, this you can find there. And some have a specific checklist and a front page format. So some journals or the papers have some checklist before submitting to the journal. So these also you can get on the specific website. And then there are contact information, email address, etc. that you need to be add in your paper. Again, this you can find in guidelines for that specific journals. Then include a cover letter. So once you have finished your writing your paper and you are ready to submit it to the this maybe journal. So many journal ask for the cover letter. And what this cover letter means, it is nothing but the outlining the originality and important findings. That means what novelty is there in your research and what are the important findings of your research that you should be able to write in maybe 1 or 2 paragraphs, and that is nothing but the cover letter for this your paper. And many times you also have to give that cover letter, you have to submit the cover letter also. Then second point is suggest possible referees, especially if the topic is unusual. Possible referees means sometimes what happens now, these journals ask if you are doing research in a very novel topic which is not very general and very few people are working on that. So it is always advisable, or the journal can ask that to whom it should be sent, who are the different experts in this field. So you can suggest for these possible referees in that specific field. Then last point is send a pre-submission inquiry. why this pre-submission inquiry? Because sometimes, because every journal is a specific. Some journals are very specific related to chemical engineering. Some are very specific, maybe the specific topic of water treatment, process integration. So it is always good if you have some doubt that whether my paper will fit in that journal or not. So you can write a pre-submission inquiry to the editor and can ask that I have done so and so research. Will it be fit in your journal? So he can reply you accordingly. And yes, either if it is feasible, then he will ask you to submit a full paper. And if not, then he can suggest you to maybe go for the different journal. So it is good to send a pre-submission inquiry also. Next, please. Yeah, the next point is referencing and citation. I told you while discussing in the previous slides that I'll tell you about the reference and citation, what this reference and citation means. Next, please. Yeah, what is a reference or a citation? The first point is a way of giving credit for someone's thinking, writing, or a research. So whenever you are using somebody else's work, you should have to cite that. If I already told you, when you are writing in the introduction that literature survey, that time you have to write or you have to give the credit to that specific researcher, the data from which you are using. That means if you are referring different papers, so you should cite those papers. And in your discussion also you require this citation, because you have to prove your data by giving the different information from the different papers. So that time also it is good to cite or give the reference. Then you mark the material when you use it. Now the common confusion is what is citation and what is the reference. The simple thing is citation means whenever you are writing a text, that time whenever you are writing maybe in a bracket, that is a number of that reference or the author name with the year, that is nothing but the cite. That means you are citing somebody else's work. What is the reference mean? The complete thing, that is what is the journal of who are the authors, what is the name of paper, or what is the journal, what is the volume, what is the year, what is the page number. That everything is nothing but the reference. I'll show the example also that. Then in academic writing, you are obliged to attribute every piece of material you use to its author. Yes, whenever you are using somebody else's work, you should cite that. Next, please. Yeah. Then why cite or reference? The first point is credit sources of information and ideas. You have to give the credit of the source, credit to the source. Then reader can locate for further information if required. Now I'll talk on the second point. Suppose you have given some reference in your maybe introduction or in your discussion that so and so author had done so and so study, and now I am reading that paper and I am interested to read more about the specific finding of that specific author. So what I can do is I can go to the reference list, I can take that specific reference and I can search for that complete paper and I can read further. So that is the again importance of this citation or the reference. Then validate argument. So whenever you need support in your discussion or in your results, that time you can validate your arguments by giving the support from the literature. Then increase and spread knowledge. Definitely by putting the references, you can increase and spread knowledge. Then show depth, breadth, and quality of your reading. Next, please. When to cite? Again, the common question that comes in our mind. Whenever you're using direct quotes, statistics, studies, theories, facts, interpretation, and the paraphrases. Whenever you are using these different things from somebody else, you have to cite. I'll talk on specially on each point in further slides, but whenever you are using these things, you have to cite. Next, please. Yeah, how citation or reference style. So there are the different methods to cite and give the reference. Again, it depends on whether the guidelines by the, if you are writing a thesis, then there are specific guidelines by the universities that you have to follow for a specific citation and the reference. If you are submitting it to the journal, then their journal is talking about specific guidelines, how to cite and how to write the reference. So you have to read that first, and likewise you have to cite. A citation style or reference system is a standardized system for referring to materials used in your writing. Then there are several different citation styles developed independently by professional organizations. I already told you. The Harvard referencing style is the most commonly used system. This is the one style, also known as the author date system. I'll tell you about this again further. Then there are very specific rules for textual citation. There are very specific rules for listing your references at the end of your essay. I told you references, the list is there at the end. Then next, please. Yeah, this is one paragraph from one of my paper to tell you how to cite. So now if you look at the line number 5, or you can see the number 15 is written in there. So that the whatever line I have written before the number 15 is taken from that specific paper. That means I have cited that paper. The number 15 is nothing but the citation for that specific paper. If you come down, can you see the number 17 there in the blue color? So that 17 number, that is the another style, that is Wang et al. So Wang is nothing but the author name, et al. Is nothing but the others. That means there are many authors than one. So you can, whenever there are more than two authors, you can write Wang et al. Whenever there are two authors, so you can write Wang and Sang. And in bracket, you have to give the number. So this 15, 16, 17, 18, whatever you see in this paragraph is nothing but the citation. Next, please. Now I told you that there were different numbers 15, 16, 17. So this is nothing but the references that we are writing at the end. So in these references, the complete description about that 15 number, what that 15 number was. So now you can see the number 15. So you can see there is a different authors are there. Which are the authors? Those who have done the study. Then there is a journal name. Then there is a volume. Then issue. Then year and the number of pages. Can you go to the next slide? That was the one style, and another style you can see on this slide, that the main difference here is in this type of referencing, you can see the name of complete research paper. That means if you look at the point number 1, M. Tamimi, S. Kozi, and Barka, these nothing but these are the authors. Then you can see methylamine degradation in aqueous solution by Fenton's reagent and the Fenton system. This is nothing but the title of the paper. Then there is a separation and purification technology. That is nothing but the name of the journal. 61 is the volume, 2008 is the year, and 103 to 108 is nothing but the page number. So these are the different styles for the referencing. Next, please. Yeah, this is the general guidelines. Again, I told you this Harvard referencing is generally used. So what this is telling, how to write the reference. For the specific, if you are referring a specific book, then how to cite this book. So what you have to do is, while citing or while writing the reference for this book citation, you can do is, what you can do is last name and the first initial of the author that you will write first. Then what you have to write is year and in year in which it is published, then title, then city and the publisher and the number of pages for this specific book. Next, please. In the same way, you can cite the publication from the journal. Then again, there is an example. You can see Ross and is nothing but author. 2015 is the year. Then there is a title of the paper. Then there is a journal name. Then there is a 59 is volume. 2 is the issue. Then there are the page numbers. So on. This is for the generation. Then next is if it is not a journal article, if it is a conference proceeding, then there is a different specific style. So you can get these different styles in different sources, like I told you that specific journal website or the guidelines from the university. Next, please. This is the citation style for the magazine. Next, please. If there are conference proceedings, you can cite like this. Next. Yeah, at the end, I would like to spend some minutes on what this plagiarism is, because nowadays it is very important to check the plagiarism, because earlier it was okay that not that many number of papers were coming, and it was accepted if there is a novelty. But plagiarism now, what these editors or the journal people, what they are doing is they are checking the plagiarism first, and they are going further in the details. If you are coming in the plagiarism, that paper will be rejected at that point only, at the initial only. So what this plagiarism is, that I'll talk. You can see one small line is giving credit where credit due. So plagiarism, to avoid the plagiarism, the mantra I'll say is the giving credit where credit is due. So whenever you are using somebody else's work or somebody else's idea, cite it. So it is the best way to overcome this plagiarism. Next, please. Yeah, plagiarism defined. What is plagiarism means? I think I'll spend maybe 5 minutes more, because it's already 5:15. So I'll
Yes,
finish
sir,
in
yes,
5 minutes. Yeah.
Yes, sir, you can continue.
Okay. So this plagiarism defined. What is the plagiarism is? The word plagiarism comes from the Latin word that is plagiarius. The meaning of it is a kidnapper. So you can imagine what this plagiarism is. Kidnapper. You can correlate this word. So it is always advisable to avoid the plagiarism. Plagiarism is the act of presenting another's work or ideas as your own. So simple example that I'll give, because we all are in a faculty or in the faculty. So generally students, what they do is they are copying the assignments from somebody else and putting like that they have written. So that is the simple way of giving the example of a plagiarism. Then yes, next please. Then yes, we have n number of excuses like my teacher. This is a student's point of view. I'm saying my teachers expect a lot of from me. Then my parents expect very much. Then everyone does this copying and everything. It was too busy for me. I didn't have the time. So we give generally a lot of excuses and we try to plagiarize. Next, please. Next is why is plagiarism important? Who really cares? Why it is important? The plagiarism is a theft. I already told you this is very big problem. Then plagiarism is cheating. Then plagiarism may result in receiving a falling grade or a zero. And I know many of you are giving a 0 marks to the students if you find that they have copied somewhere. So that is nothing but what the plagiarism is and how it is harmful to us. Next, please. Some of the things that you think you know about plagiarism may be wrong. Like it does not matter if the person whose work you have cited is alive or dead. That means if you think that now that research is not alive now and I can use his work, no, that is wrong. You have to cite wherever it is dead or alive. You have to cite. If you translate or paraphrase something, you must still give citation. You think that I have taken some line and I have paraphrased it and I have modified it and I have written in my own words, but then also you have to cite it. If you are using a picture or a figure from a specific source, then also you have to cite it. Next, please. Then there are different types of plagiarism. Copying. Everybody know what this copying plagiarism means. Next, please. Then patchwork plagiarism. That means take something from this, take from different 10 papers, combine together and put that. That is nothing but the patchwork. Again, it is a plagiarism. Next, please. Paraphrasing, again the changing some words here and there and making it like showing like it is your work. That is also the paraphrasing and that is also plagiarism. Next, please. Unintentional, sometimes it happens that it occurs when the writer incorrectly quotes and or incorrectly cites the source they are using. So it is a natural tendency, or human, we are human, so there are chances that we could do the mistake. So unintentionally sometimes it happens that we are using somebody else's work and we are giving the reference to somebody else. So this is the unintentional type of plagiarism. Next, please. Now how to avoid this plagiarism? Avoiding plagiarism is quite simple. The best method for avoiding it is to simply be honest. So you need to be honest. If it is not my work, if I am using somebody else's work, I will cite it. So that is the biggest thing that you should keep in your mind, how to avoid. You simply be honest. Then use your own work as often as possible. So try to use your work only as much as possible. Then another way to is means quote and or cite your sources properly. So whenever you are using some quotes or different sources, you cite it properly. So in this way, you can avoid the plagiarism. Then next common question: do I have to cite everything? Means whatever I am using, I have to cite. Next, please. And the answer is no. You don't have to cite everything. If there are the facts that are widely known, you don't have to cite that. Do not have to be documented. The next. Yeah, examples of common knowledge means whenever there is a common knowledge, then you need not have to cite that. For example, the example is Jawaharlal Nehru was our first prime minister. Everybody knows that because yes, Jawaharlal Nehru was our first prime minister. So if you are writing this specific line in your this paper or thesis, you did not have to cite that because this is a common knowledge. If you see a fact in 3 or more sources and you are fairly certain your readers already know about this, you do not have to cite. Then, but when it is a doubt, yeah, if you are in a doubt that even if it is common knowledge, and if you are doubt, no, I don't think it is a common knowledge, no problem, you can cite that. You cite it. Next. No need to document when you are discussing your own experience. Whenever you are writing your own experiences, means while doing experiments, what you have failed or what how you have done. Whenever you are writing these, whatever observations you are writing these, you did not have to cite. Then compiling the results of original research from science, experiments, etc. Then you are using a common knowledge. So whenever you are doing these things, no need to document or no need to cite. Next, please. What is the big deal? If I change a few words and I'm okay. I already told you this is nothing but a paraphrasing, so it is not advisable to change a few words and use it as your own. Next, please. I already discussed about this. Then quoting also, I already discussed about this. Quoting is nothing but as it is sentence. Next, please. Yeah, quotation must be attributed to the original author and the sources that you use. That means whenever you are using a quotation, and and if you found that quotation in another reference, and that quotation is of might be of any other researcher, so you have to give the credit to that specific researcher who have done this, not the who have cited this. So that you can keep in mind. Next, paraphrasing. I already discussed about this. Next, please. Summarizing. Summarizing involves putting the main ideas of one or several writers into your own words. This also I discussed. Means taking the ideas from 10 different papers, summarizing it and putting in your own words. And you will see, no, this is my study. No, it is not. You have to cite that. Whenever you are summarizing, you need to cite that. Next. The last point I can suggest here is that there are different softwares that are available for the plagiarism check, like small CO2s, duplicate checker, and so on. PlaGScan is there, Authenticate is there. So you can search on different. You can search on this website also or Google also. You can be able to get this list of these different software that you can use to check the plagiarism. And there are certain guidelines from different journals also. So they are using a specific plagiarism check software. They are putting your paper in that, and they will generate a report, and they could able to judge how much plagiarism is there. If that is within the range, maybe 5 or 10%, they might accept it, or if it is more than that, they might reject your paper. So it is very important, the plagiarism. Next, please. So I'm open for the questions now. Sorry, it was little late. Maybe I think I'm 10 minutes late. But I'm ready to take the questions now.
Yes, sir. We'll take some questions.
Yeah.
There was. Sir, there are so many thank you messages for elaborating details about methodology, ethics.
Okay. Thank you.
The one question from Dr. Ninad.
Yes.
Other than LaTeX, what are others open source softwares useful to write technical papers?
What I will say is the commonly used is, yes, LaTeX is one good thing, but commonly used generally maximum people that are using is the MS Word, which is means commonly used and easily available. So many of them are using the MS Word for writing, and in that you can use different softwares like Mendeley to write especially about the references. Yeah.
What role do citations play during literature review? The question from Atul Savle.
Can you repeat the question, please?
What role do citations play during literature review?
Yes, I said, I think I have discussed about the plagiarism. So that means whenever you are doing the literature review and whenever you are putting that literature review in your paper or your thesis, that means you have taken it from somebody else. So you have to cite that specifically. So to avoid the plagiarism, and another thing is to give the more knowledge. That means if you are citing at specific references, and if somebody is interested in more detail of that specific reference, then you can go that specific reference and read it further. So that is the importance of citation and the reference.
Hello, Dr. Pankaj. Am I audible to you?
Yes, yes, you're audible.
Yes. Sir, there is a question like after writing the report, when we should go for the plagiarism application?
After writing the report, yes, there are different softwares. I had told you in my last slide also that there are many different softwares. Even some few are the free softwares also. So you can put your paper in that specific software, and you can, before sending it to journal, you can check by yourself how much plagiarism is there, and you can avoid that. So it shows you, means if you put that your paper in the plagiarism software, it will give you the different colors that this much of the this para or this line is plagiarized, is coming under the para, this para is coming under the plagiarism. So you can take that, or you can give the reference to that, or you can reword that, or you can write in your words, so that again you can avoid that plagiarism. So it is always advisable to check the plagiarism by your own first before sending it to the journal.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Sir, we have n number of comments in the comment box. Like, thank you, sir, for the descriptive session. Good session. That was very informative. I guess I'm not able to read each and every one, but on behalf of our participants and organizing committee, Sir, thank you so much for the very descriptive and very precise session. We all are enlightened with your words. Thank you. I just summarize your session with few sentences. First, thank you for the 5 Ws that you explained about the research. That is what, how, why, and where. That makes our research very clean. I mean, research idea is very clean. How we go for the research. Sir, your experience and expertise in the this area and your guidelines through this session will definitely helpful for beginners, researchers, development in the faculties who are starting or who are already started the research. Your sessions gave us a a path of flow in the research area, and not only the researcher, any formal report writing can adopt this. We are fortunate to have you with us with a very nice depth topic like research report writing. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us. And those who want to contact Dr. Pankaj Patil can write to this email ID, Pankaj, PANKAJ dot Patil, PATIL 86 @gmail.com. Kole sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, before that, I would like to comment just for 1 minute. I am very much thankful to all the audience for listening me patiently and bearing me from last 1.5 hour almost. And I am very much thankful to the organizing committee of the MGMCET college and the chemical department for giving me the opportunity to talk in front of you. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Pankaj.
Yes.
Okay, I think today we can stop over here.